In a bustling world of international trade, a simple but powerful concept took center stage: tariffs. Tariffs are the taxes imposed by the countries on the commodities that come from abroad. At first glance, it looks like a straightforward tool, a way to make foreign goods more expensive so that they can protect the local industry. However, beneath the surface, the story of tariffs is much more complicated. Let's say there is a firm in US that manufactures electronic cars. It needs lithium from China, steel from South Korea, and semiconductor from Taiwan. Now, when these tariffs got introduced, the prices of everything goes up. Now, the firm has to choose between two choices. Either they can absorb the cost internally, or they can pass on to the consumer. In both ways, they will have a negative effect on their profit margins. This effect also ripples outwards. Consumer may face higher prices, suppliers got squeezed, and the other industries who are attached to the same supply chain feel the strain. All leads to slower economic growth. So how do these tariffs impact different players in our story? Businesses versus consumer. Let's talk about the businesses first. A firm may experience a higher production cost, especially if they heavily rely on imported components. A furniture firm imports textile and woods from abroad. Suddenly, they find their products less competitive, both domestically and internationally. This may lead to elimination of expansion plan or delay the expansion plan. Also, it can cause the job cuts, which can create a higher level of unemployment in the society. For the consumer, the equation is more straightforward. They get this impact on checkout counters. Everyday commodity, from food to textile, from smartphones to washing machines, everything become expensive. Even the commodity which seems to produce locally can become expensive. That is because in the current world, often some part of each commodity come from abroad. In the end, tariff is like a hidden tax on an average household, especially who are on the tight budget. Now you must be wondering why US implemented these tariffs, especially knowing the possible consequences. They provide 3 reasons. Number 1, they want to protect the local industry. According to their point of view, when they make the foreign good more expensive, the local manufacturer get the benefit. Things will produce more domestically, create more jobs for the local people. Number 2, US accuse other countries for unfair trade practices, such as export subsidies, intellectual property threat, and currency manipulation. For US, the answer to these unfair trade practices is high tariff policy. Lastly, US hold trade deficit with majority of its trading partner. That's classified as a trade imbalance. US want to address this issue of trade imbalance by putting higher tariffs for every other country. Now, in this globalized world, US being the largest economy, the tariffs going to affect almost each and every sector to some extent. However, the key affected sectors are manufacturing, especially the consumer electronics and technology, steel, copper, and agriculture. So what about the bigger picture, such as global supply chain and international businesses? In today's interconnected world, there are very few products that can entirely produce in one country. Cars, smartphone, Even the chocolate that you consumed last week have to go through dozens of countries before reaching to your hand. Tariffs throw a wrench to this finely tuned system. Companies might have to reroute their supply chain, find new partner, or even relocate the whole factory. Now, this process is not only time consuming but also costly. Some firms focus on automation, while others prefer to change their locations. For example, in last Trump era, US put a lot of tariffs on China. So Chinese manufacturers moved from China to Vietnam, India, and Malaysia, where they find low tariffs or sometimes complete tariff exemptions. Now let's talk about the case of Malaysia and how this trade turbulence impacted. Well, Malaysia in a quite unique place. As a key global player in manufacturing and electronics, this situation is both vulnerable and opportunistic. Let me explain. On one hand, reduced global supply and disrupt supply chain can definitely affect the Malaysian exporters negatively, especially in the semiconductor and precision engineering. But on the other hand, if Malaysia set itself an alternative strategic location for the firms who wants to diversify or shift away from another countries who get highly negatively affected due to new US tariffs, then Malaysia can utilize this opportunity. To be honest, it's very difficult to tell you exactly how Malaysian economy look like after this US tariff implementation. With time, we can develop better understanding and then we can discuss it later. In the end, one of the most important questions is, in all these uncertain times, where does academia come in? I believe universities and research institutions can play a significant role. They are like lighthouses during economic storm. They can contribute through research, policy design, and even collaborate with local industry. For example, our university collaborate with local manufacturer so that they can reduce the cost and improve productivity. Similarly, economists in our business school work with these kind of situation. They analyze the trade flow, they find out the patterns, and they suggest the policies to the government so that they can negotiate with better strategy. So universities and research institutions can provide better and effective solutions to both local industry and government. And in the end, these two important sectors in our society can emerge as winners in these troubled times. I'm Dr. Arsalan. I'm Assistant Professor of Economics at the University of Southampton Malaysia. And see you next time.